The release of a huge Xbox Series X exclusive game scheduled for later this year has been pushed back. Redfall, a new co-op game from Bethesda and Arkane Studios, was initially revealed at E3 2021 last year, with a summer release date announced, but there has been no more news about the game since then. Is it factual or simply a speculation? Let's dive in. First up, news from the Defining Duke podcast for Redfall. MrMattyPlays and Lord Cognito hinted on a recent edition of the Defining Duke podcast that a number of forthcoming Xbox exclusives release dates might shift this year. Stalker 2, Heart of Chernobyl, which will be unique to the Xbox Series X system, will be delayed until the final month of 2022, similar to Redfall. While both hosts agree that whatever they've heard came from a source they don't generally receive information from, they've heard Redfall might be delayed this year on Xbox. It's worth noting that the delay to Redfall's release is still not expected, so it's possible that this all is simply a rumor to get people excited about the game. Both MrMattyPlays and Lord Cognito emphasized that nothing about this matter has been confirmed as of yet. However, given that Redfall hasn't been featured prominently since its announcement last summer, a delay by Bethesda and Xbox to allow each corporation more time to market the game is highly likely. So, are the rumors true? It's quite possible that Redfall will not be available during the summer of 2022, and if this is the case, it will be a major setback for Xbox exclusives planned for that year. If Redfall's release date is pushed back, as rumors suggest, there will be a significant gap between the initial Xbox release party and Redfall. As far as we know, a number of games such as Stalker 2, Heart of Chernobyl have been scheduled for release this summer. It may not be the only Xbox game we've heard of, and it's certainly not a system exclusive, but it was still expected to be delivered this summer. This has also been postponed till December, similar to Redfall. If game releases are delayed back-to-back, Xbox may suffer significant losses in 2022, especially considering how they're losing the race with Sony and their highly anticipated Sony exclusives, such as God of War, Ragnarok. If somehow the game is late, the fans' enthusiasm will be split between all of the games that are being played around the same time. However, it's likely that Microsoft has something else up their sleeve that will surprise us, similar to how everybody was surprised when they acquired Activision Blizzard. If something like that occurs, we may see dozens of new games during the first half of 2022. But little has been finalized yet, so in the meantime, we'll just have to hope that Redfall doesn't delay, or that they at least make up for the delay one way or the other. For the time being, we'll simply have to wait and see what Microsoft has in store for us, as well as how they'll deal with Redfall if it's delayed. Nothing has been affirmed, because these are just rumors floating around the internet, so we're going to assume everything is going according to plan until and unless an actual announcement is made. Don't leave, because we're going to tell you all we know so far about the game. Next, we look into Redfall, everything we know. Redfall's announcement video during the Xbox and Bethesda E3 2021 event was solely cinematic. Therefore, no gameplay footage has been released yet. We just have a few things to do until we receive some more information. Redfall is a first-person shooter set in an open-world Massachusetts, where players must slash and shred their way through the vampire threat that has taken over this small town. Redfall is being developed by Arkane Austin, the same studio that brought us Prey, so we may expect similar gameplay experience. The announcement trailer for Redfall provided us with a solid indication of what to anticipate from the game's dynamic. Although this town is being invaded by violent, blood-sucking vampires, it appears that the overall tone will be fairly lighthearted. The trailer depicts each character's own personality, and it has a chemistry that reminds us of a game like Left 4 Dead. It also gives an intriguing image of how playing each character, from their overall personality attributes to their specialized abilities, may feel. Leaked photos have revealed some extremely early details about Redfall's appearance. It looks like our first assumptions about it being comparable to something more like Borderlands were proven right. Customizable loadouts, unique abilities, level requirements, and tons of treasure will all be there. Players appear to be able to equip up to 3 weapons, as well as armor, a keepsake, a med kit, and fragments. It's difficult to say what many of these do just yet, but you can bet they change your statistics in some manner. Now, let's take a look at the characters. Redfall will incorporate a broad range of characters, each with their own set of skills. Jacob Boyer has the ability to turn invisible and carries a sniper rifle when active. His eyes sparkle with a hazy white essence, possibly granting him superior targeting ability. Remy De La Rosa has an automatic assault weapon and is accompanied by a charming tiny robot that can shoot bullets or crush vampires with its weight. She also possesses a freeze ray capable of reducing vampires to ice particles. Layla Ellison is armed with a semi-automatic assault weapon and wields a cosmic skill that enables her to change gravity and glide above the battlefield for a short time. She uses it to climb a skyscraper at one point in the trailer, implying that the game will feature a climbing mechanic. She also uses her skills to build a death ray umbrella that eliminates vampires. Devinder Krausley wields a stake launcher to stake his victims, and he likes filming his confrontations with these vampires since he appears to be intrigued by them. He also possesses some sort of flare launcher. Now that we have the plot, the island settlement of Redfall, Massachusetts is the setting for Redfall. The community has been overrun by a blood-sucking force that has established itself as the antagonist of the game. Players are expected to thoroughly explore Redfall because it's an open-world game. We're hoping for enough environmental variation in Redfall to keep things interesting. Being confined to a single area, particularly an island village in Massachusetts, puts the game at risk for becoming monotonous. It should, however, remain fascinating if the action sequences that were featured in Prey are retained. But what is the story? Redfall is based on the strange premise that vampires aren't genuinely old, strong beings. They're the consequence of a botched research experiment, and they're becoming stronger day by day. So they're basically like a cheap AliExpress version of zombies who prefer blood over brains. We also know that the vampires have mostly overrun the island, and that there are even vampire cults. Apart from that, we don't know much about the plot, but it appears that our adventurers have arrived at this location to put an end to the vampiric invasion. So, what genre does the game belong to? Redfall's genre is a bit of a wild card. It might follow in the footsteps of Left 4 Dead, with players shooting down vampires with weapon pickups in order to survive predetermined stages. However, given the open-world nature of the game, this seems questionable. It might even be a co-op, open-world, first-person shooter in the spirit of Borderlands, with each character having their own set of abilities. Official press releases give no indication of it being a role-playing game like Borderlands. According to the official website, Redfall will introduce the studio's unique gameplay to the co-op action and first-person shooter genres. This might indicate that the game will be similar to Prey, with a focus on providing players with a variety of devices, talents, and weaponry to tackle problems in interesting ways. If this is the case, how will aspects of the realistic simulation genre be incorporated into a co-op game? It's difficult to say, but we're excited to watch Redfall gameplay, which will almost certainly be revealed with a firm release date sooner or later. Fingers crossed. Now, for some other gaming news. Dying Light 2 shows off Xbox Series X graphics modes. Dying Light 2 from Techland is just around the corner. New information appears to be flowing at an increasing rate. The open-world parkouring from the previous game will be continued in this sequel. After completing the game, it will take 500 hours for players to get to 100%. Dying Light 2 seems to be jam-packed with goodies for each of the platforms it will be released on. Because of the many builds that PC gamers might have, they will most certainly have the most possibilities. When it comes to consoles, the Xbox Series X version is roughly twice as large as the PlayStation 5 version. The latest Dying Light 2 teaser showcases the game's 3 distinct aesthetic styles. Players can pick between quality and performance settings in each mode. The footage resembles a recent trailer for the PlayStation version of the game, which also features 3 alternative visual settings. Quality mode tries for the optimum visual experience, whereas resolution mode aims for 30 frames per second. Performance mode, on the other hand, forgoes the visual frills in favor of maintaining a frame rate of 60 frames per second or greater. Dying Light 2 will have 500 hours of content and 500 hours of gameplay. According to Techland, the game will also get at least 5 years of post-launch support, which implies that the new campaign content, events, places, and DLCs will be released for a long period of time. Thanks for sticking around. See you next time.